Why do you need some chickens? What's that? You have something to add? Why not? That's what I want to know. Some people say, oh, they're nasty, they stink. Well, you would too if you didn't have plumbing. This chicken right here, I think is either an ISA brown or a golden comet. Hey, what's going on, bird? They're really friendly. Some of the other ones aren't so much. We have some white leghorns. They aren't as awesome as these. Like, see this? Where are you at? Yeah, see how awesome? See how awesome she is? Calm down. I needed one for the video. She's actually not the friendliest. Yeah, everybody knows. Everybody knows you're lame right now. Oh, crazy. All right, can I hold one of y'all? And we're back with an even less willing subject. This here is a white leghorn. She is one of the commercial breeds that they use. She produces the white eggs, and they're pretty large. They're extra large, I believe. She's a small bird, not made for meat production at all. As far as friendly, not so much. We do have one leghorn. All right, calm it down. We do have one leghorn that's actually kind of friendly and will let us pick her up, but the rest of them are really, they're very scared. They're very chicken. The reason why we got more is because I figure if they ever got out of the chicken coop, we've had some get out, and the raccoons will get them. These are quick. I think they'll have a better chance of staying alive. Now, as far as how well they do with weather, the coldest it's gotten around here was probably 7 degrees Fahrenheit, above zero, and they seem to do just fine. They don't freeze to death or anything, and they do well in the summertime. The other birds that we have are the golden comets. They are a little bit bigger. They produce a large egg, a little bit smaller than these white leghorns, but it's more of a tan and brown color. The golden comets look exactly like ISA browns. ISA browns are a production bird. That's when you get the brown eggs from the store and they try to charge you extra money for it. It's just from a different kind of bird. Their urine and feces pretty much come out as one clump. And if you let them free range like we do, they will go on your porch and on your driveway and then just drop dookie pellets everywhere. And then you have to hose it on down. It's kind of gross, but if you have a big enough area for them to walk around, it's not a big deal. We don't have that many birds anyway. So how hard is it to raise these animals? When you get them as baby chicks, it's kind of a pain. You do have to put a little effort into it. You have to put a heat lamp on them and make sure that they are at about 95 degrees. Even on a 80-degree sunny day in the summertime, they can still get hypothermia because they're not able to regulate that heat. So they still have to have a heat lamp on them. When they're clustered together, they are freezing cold. When they're walking around and doing their own thing, then they're totally fine. So even when it's under freezing around here, all right, come on now. I need you to be my example of how awesome chickens are. You're not helping out. You're not helping out. You're not helping out. Okay, sorry, we had to take a little technical difficulties break. She's not too thrilled right now. She wants to go and play with her friends. So even when it's cold, you can still raise the babies, but you'll have to have a heat lamp on them. We keep ours in the garage, and we generally get them from the feed store. We don't have a rooster, only because we don't live out in the country. If we did, we'd have probably about 100 birds. So this here is my illustrious 5-year-old chicken coop that I made. So I don't know if you're curious about what's going on here, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. This is, I have heat tape. It's wrapped around the plumbing. I have it's an automatic watering system on the bottom. Inside of here, I will show you in a second, is a reservoir. And I have an Arduino board that I built and wrote the code for. There's a float switch inside of there, so that when the water level comes up, there's a valve that opens up the water and lets it flow, so it'll fill at the reservoir. When the float switch is tripped, it cuts off the solenoid. This here is awesome. No electricity required. You put your food in there and it uses gravity. So with our birds, this will probably last 5 days. It really depends on how many you have. If you have 3 birds, this may last you like 3 weeks. If you have 30 something birds, you're gonna be coming out here every other day and filling this thing up. All this is 4-inch drainage pipe from the hardware store. You can get the cap and whatever. Don't use the really thick stuff because that's expensive and you don't need it. The drainage pipe is probably it's probably about 16 inch wide. Also, I have a light sensor. And what that does is it detects how much light is out when the sun is out, and it will drop this gate. So this right here goes up and down. It's down because it's daytime, obviously. And when nighttime comes, this will come on up. One thing good about the chickens is that generally about 99% of the time, there's always that sometimes when they don't want to do it, they always go back into their coop at nighttime. You don't even have to mess with it. So if you wanted to leave everything open and have this thing come on up, if you design something like this, you wouldn't even really have to mess with it. This is an automatic watering thing. So originally what it is you just pull this cap on off and you could fill it up with the hose or whatever, which I probably wouldn't recommend doing. There's a lot of BPA in that. But you can get camper hoses, which are for potable water. So I have this basically, this is coming from the house, it's coming from a reverse osmosis filter, a 5-stage, just because that's what we use to drink. City water is kind of gross, right? There's all kinds of junk in there. And if you don't want to drink it, then you probably shouldn't be feeding it to your animals. So how long does it take for you to get your eggs? Well, 6 months, sometimes 4. And it seems like it takes an eternity. We have some that are probably every bit of 6 months, and they're just now kind of starting to lay eggs. So we're getting more. As far as an investment, if you was able to get a coop that didn't cost you very much, which I don't even want to tell you how much it cost me to build this thing here, and you had chickens and everybody was healthy and you let them free range, you know, because they'll dig up the worms and everything, so that kind of helps with feed cost. I was selling mine for $3 a dozen. As soon as we get some more, I think I'm gonna up that, only because if you go to the grocery store and you get some free range, awesome super duper eggs, they want $6 for it, you know? So as far as you getting your money back, it's not really gonna happen. Chickens are awesome because if you live in an area like I do, in the wintertime, there is no life outside. Birds aren't flying because it's so cold. Squirrels, you rarely see a squirrel. But you look out your window and you see the bird just going at it, just scratching at the ground. Now that might not be a good idea from a business standpoint, but this is a hobby, okay? And you got plenty of these pretty birds to come around. Sometimes they'll let you pick them up. This one won't. I had to corner this one. But as far as getting them back inside of the coop, they do it themselves at nighttime. So when you first get them, if you get them as adults, you probably want to put them inside of your run if you have one, just to get them used to it. I have mine connected to my run. Some people don't. Some people come out in the morning and let them out, and that's totally fine. You can let them out in the morning, in the evening. You can come back and shut a little trap door or whatever. The only thing is, like, let's say you sleep in late. The longer they're inside of the coop, the more they poop inside. So the less time they can spend, which is great in summertime because you get more daylight hours. So the less time that they spend in there, the less often that you have to clean the inside out. Are you ready for this? The inside. This is latches for gates. I made that, and I use these fancy hinges on the end. It's gonna be a little stinky. It's winter time, so they are in the coop a little bit longer than in summertime. We actually just changed this a few days ago. So here is one of our dirty birds. I'm not sure what's up with her. She's always filthy. Like the rest of them really aren't like that. So anyway, they'll come back up inside of the coop. Once the gate goes down, they'll go out, run around, they'll come down here and eat, they'll get their water. But when it's time for them to lay an egg, they'll come right back up inside this coop. and lay eggs in these little cubby holes. These right here are porcelain eggs. And the reason why you put them in there is because birds are kind of dumb. So they don't know where to lay their eggs at. So if they see eggs in a pile, they're gonna lay their egg right on top of that. So you can just come and get a whole bunch of them. We took the ones from this morning, so I can't show you. This here is just a separate feeder. I have it coming from the back. It's got a little dookie on it, but you know, birds don't seem to care. Okay, inside of this box is the Arduino board. I built that. It took me forever to write the code. It took me about a full month to try to figure all this stuff out. Now granted, this was about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, so if somebody wanted to do this, I wouldn't be much help. This here is coming from the outside, and this larger tube is just a reservoir. Now inside of here, this is where the float sensors are, but this is obviously the reservoir. And then it comes on down. I have a little thing to where I used to have the nipples come down, but they started to leak after a few years. So now I just use these cups. Sometimes they get dirty and you have to clean them out. They'll hit this with their beaks and it'll fill it back up. Here they are in their natural wildlife habitat. Chickens running amok. Let me touch you. Let me touch your feather. Was this the same one? Was this the same one I was holding? Let me touch it. Oh, come on. All right. Well, anyway, this is it. What do you think about it? The two pieces of 2x4 here are so they can perch at nighttime. That's where they like to go. I decided to build this little thing here just so they can hop up if maybe they were getting old, or probably for the younger ones. I don't really remember. It's been so long. But every single night, that's where they go. This is just a little ceiling. I actually did put some foam insulation in there. I didn't use the fiberglass or anything. I don't really guess you need it, but it's there in case they need it. So they're usually pretty warm inside of here. Here's that bird again, acting all crazy. What are you doing, bird? So this is it right here. This is the plastic netting that you can get from the store. I had to replace the top. I did the top and bottom because there are hawks and other predatory birds around here that will kill your birds. This I got from the hardware, and I will tell you, if you plan on doing this for long term, get the galvanized chicken wire and don't mess around with this mess because it doesn't last. Also, don't judge my craftsman skills, and do not at all ever build any of this out of untreated wood. It needs to be treated. Don't make the same mistake I did. Let me show you. So I had to scab this piece back together. This is actually treated over here. This is untreated, and my beautiful thing after so long has turned into garbage. So, why wouldn't you want a bird? Look at how pretty they are. Look at how pretty her eyes are. It's got that really sunbursty, like I'm the devil type of look to it, which is really nice, see? All right, she's not having it right now. if you make something like this, put this screw on top on here. Raccoons are very clever and they will unscrew this. How do I know? Because I've had it happen. These are about 3 weeks old. These are golden comets. They're a little scared just because we don't pick them up that much. We've had such good luck with these, we decided to get some more of them. You'll need some kind of heating lamp or something on them. They need to be about 95 degrees. You can use one of those thermal temperature things. This is just a light housing that you get from the hardware store, and this is a 100-watt light bulb. That's the waterer, and that's the feeder. This comes up right here, and you put your chicken crumble. That's what you buy for baby chicks, chicken crumble, and the adults get the layer pellets. So one thing you need to watch, see how I got this kind of rigged up? If you have this clamped to here or you got something going on, when they get older, there's a good chance they're going to knock this and hit it on this bedding material. And you have to watch, because if it breaks, there's a chance that it's going to set this stuff on fire. Realistically, this bedding material has a bunch of feces and stuff on it, and it's going to be a hair moist anyway, but it's a possibility. Generally speaking, you don't want any heat lamps in your chicken coop that you have outside whatsoever at all, even if it's getting really cold, because you run a chance of it getting caught on fire and you losing all your birds. It has happened many times with a lot of people. I never run a heat lamp in my big chicken coop, ever, even if it's 7 degrees outside. All of these birds are laying hens. They're not meat chickens. The meat chickens are the Cornish cross. Those are huge. They stink because all they do is eat and poop. In fact, they don't really last very long because they grow so fast, their organs don't develop right. And even if you wanted to keep one for years, there's a good chance they're not going to make it anyway. So don't get the Cornish cross if you're doing that. But as far as friendly chickens, golden comets, we've had a lot of good luck. Unfortunately, because of raccoons, I lost some of my favorite golden comets. But I would be inside of the run area working with a shovel. I would take a break. I'd have my arm out here just resting, and I had 1 or 2 of them fly up on my arm and perch. I was kneeling down. I had 2 of them at the same time. This was years ago, 1 on each shoulder. It was the funniest thing. This particular bird will obviously never do that because she's flipping out right now. But realistically, if somebody tells you no, don't get chickens, find a new friend. Give me one of these. I will see you guys next time and try out this new chicken life. It looks good on you.